And remember this great prophecy. The standard of truth has been erected. No unhallowed hand can stop the work from progressing. The truth of God will go forth, boldly, nobly, independent, till it has penetrated every continent, visited every clime, swept every country, and has sounded in every ear, till the purposes of God shall be accomplished, and the great Jehovah say, the work is done.
It'd be difficult to imagine anything more exciting to do as a young man, woman, or couple in the world today than to be a full-time missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The process begins in the home, long before missionary age, when parents instill in the minds and hearts of every young boy the concept of when I go on a mission, not if I go on a mission.
The destiny of man and of nations is always being decided. Is it not time that God sent out a great army to revive a dying world? We may not be responsible for past generations, but we cannot escape the full responsibility for this one. Our time has come. And though we may not remember this hour, this commitment, we must not fail. When in doubt, we must look upward. When we fall, we must seek mercy. For this is our charge, our privilege, our sacred duty, to gather our brothers and sisters and return with honor.
I felt the Spirit of the Lord testify to me that I should go, and that I should go now. I said to the bishop, if the Lord wants me to serve, then I will go. For me, everything changed. In one way or another, every good thing that has happened since that day has come because of the commitment made to serve the Lord and His children and give 2 years of my life to His service. I say again, come and join with us. Come and be clean. Come and be happy. Come and experience the very thing that the Lord has said is of most worth to you at this time in your life. Come and be part of the greatest generation of missionaries the world has ever known.
Okay, sorry, I'm setting up so I can record you. Do I have your permission?
If you ask me, if you tell me what I'm supposed to be thinking about.
Relax, you're forcing the conversation. We're doing our. Actually, if you're following my social media account, you should know what we're working on. Are you not supporting us?
Missionary.
Yeah.
I am a missionary. But I'm like, I don't know much about missionary.
Well,
I guess I know.
well, one of the things.
How I feel.
Yeah, one of the angles we're going to talk about is Cody mentioned, we've both been young men's presidents, and when the boys that you are, young men president over, if they decide to go on a mission, you feel like you did a good job, that you had a part in it, and if they don't go, you feel like you didn't do a good enough job, or you let someone down. And then we were talking about, how parents must feel too when kids don't go or decide not to go. So do you have my situation was unique, I guess, but did you have feelings about that? About me not going? Did I disappoint you?
What? No, I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't disappointed in you. I was disappointed in, I don't want you to say that, though. I was disappointed in whoever was, I guess it was your bishop. I don't know who your young men leader, I can't remember who that was. Were you being encouraged to go? I felt like I was. I felt like you weren't. I felt like the bishop was not doing his job. He wasn't making you feel like you were mission material.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did that happen?
Yeah.
That angered me. Because I'm like, I don't know, it bothered me, but I don't want you, because that's sort of negative.
No, it's
I
good.
think he should have been, I guess he was doing what he thought was right, because he didn't know you like I knew you, and I knew you would be a wonderful missionary, but that bothered me. And then, I think that's, how do you as a youth you're so sensitive, so how do you overcome what your spiritual leader is saying to you?
Yeah.
I don't think that, I don't think you were invited. Maybe you didn't know what, I don't know. I wasn't in on the interview. I don't know what.
Well, yeah.
He was telling you.
I think it's.
I don't know.
I think I left the room feeling more discouraged than wanting to go.
Right.
But as a, I never remember you or Dad expressing that you were disappointed in me, which I always appreciated. But, I'd be lying if I felt like, I was kind of the only son you guys had that didn't go on a mission. So there's always a part of me that feels a little disappointed, or I let you down in that way. But on the backdrop of everything that turned out, with Jamie and my own family and all that, it obviously doesn't, compare, or it's a non-issue. But
right. And Dad and I think I remember talking about it, and you should ask Dad, but I think Dad just said not everyone has to go on a mission.
Yeah.
You can't, it's not like, we just saw the situation, and we saw that you were a good kid, and that you weren't some wild, crazy person, like way off the track.
I was a little weird, though. I mean, I admit I was a little trying to find myself, I guess.
But if you could see every missionary before they go into the MTC, you probably wouldn't recognize, you would see the big change. So I've known a lot of missionaries that have long hair and beard and whatever, and then they make that decision to go, and they change. And
this is what we're trying to skirt around today. There is a culture that I don't know if pressure is the right word, but kind of cultivates this idea that as a young man, you should do this. You should go, even starting from primary to young men's and stuff. You have people encouraging to go, and that's not a bad thing at all. That's good. But and so if it doesn't happen, or if they don't go, they tend to carry some kind of like they let people down or whatever. But my other question is, do you feel like all young men should serve missions?
Well, I think that I don't think the Lord loves someone when you ask when they don't go on a mission. And it's kind of a touchy subject. I'm not sure the answer, and I'm not.
That's
sure
why we're talking about it, because people don't want to talk. It is touchy. People have reservations of talking about it, and for some reason, Cody and I think it's a good idea to put our foot in our mouth. It's just it's different for everybody, and everyone's different. So your experience, I'm sure, is different. But that's kind of the thing. We're pushed and we're taught we should go, and I agree that we should. But I think it's okay to talk about it not being exactly what you thought it would be, or talking about some of the hard things. But all right, well, that's good.
Yeah, I think for sure that when you have young men and people, I guess it's sort of like marriage. People can say how hard or how great it is until you get there. You don't really know, but I think that maybe churches doing a little bit better on preparing missionaries. I don't know.
Yeah.
They have lots of missionary classes, but the pressure to go is truly there, and especially in Utah and other places. But they did away with. They used to have these big grandiose missionary farewells. They did away with that, and they to have these grandiose missionary homecomings, and they did away with that because there was so much pressure on the missionary.
Oh, they did away with missionary homecomings because of that?
Well, I'm just saying, in the church, in the history of the church, as I've been a member, growing up, I always had these grand farewells, big deals. That missionary planned all the programs and the family, and everyone in the family talked and all of that. And then they just said, we're not going to do that anymore. Just you give a talk and you go.
That's
when you get back, you give a talk.
That's a really good point. It's more tempered down. I'm sure it has to do with those things. That's good.
Well, I just think as leaders, you have to be positive, and even if you think someone's not living the gospel according to you, you still need to use love to invite that person in. Criticism never is going to bring someone closer.
Yeah.
You can't force people to do anything. You can't force people to join the church. You can't force them to be a missionary. You can't, it's just it's like you're talking about these personalities where we're just always bumping into each other and maybe not intentionally trying to hurt one another, but mistakes get made, and sometimes they can be, life-changing. So, I don't know, whatever.
All right, you're the best.
Oh, I love you. We love them. You guys are doing a good job, and I think you're serving a purpose, and good luck.
All right, one more thing. Say hi, this is Jared's mom, and you're listening to the Other Brothers podcast.
Oh, really? I could say that?
Sure.
I say, hi, this is Jared's mom, and you're listening to the Other Brothers podcast.
Cody,
Jared
Cobra.
Bear. Yes.
Oh, dang it. It's the Cobra and Jared Bear Show. We've officially renamed it.
Yes, I will get on Apple and I will change the name of the podcast by next week.
So what happened last week? Cody, I could count on half my hand the amount of people who wondered where our podcast was last week.
Oh man, there was that many. So I think, to be fair, we decided to respect our beautiful wives, and we respectfully did not record so that we could dedicate Mother's Day to them.
Oh, we got a thumbs up. All right,
Perfect.
you were so
Okay.
smooth. Yes, honestly, that's what it was. It was kind of nice to have a week off.
It was.
And I think that we talked about, hey, you know what? Let's we want to have a podcast every week, but we don't want to rush it. So it gave us some more time to think about our episode today, which is, say it together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I
did not serve a mission.
So
I'm a piece of
poop. Oh, poop. Yes.
Well, Amberly was looking at me with that face that's like, I know what's about to happen. Don't do it.
I think that was the running title. And
Yes.
then for marketing, we released a different title, which
I
was
didn't serve a mission.
Called to Serve, Return with Honor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what. Okay, good.
Yeah, but I like the running title better. It's really what we want to talk about. So yeah, we're going to talk today about the culture of serving a mission or not serving a mission, or generally just the missionary work in the church. And Cody, I have a couple of really great friends who are not members who listen. Do you mind kind of quickly talking about what missionary work is in the LDS church, why it's such a thing? Kind of a quick rundown.
Sure. So missionary service, I'll just give it on from the perspective of a young man, since that's what I am. And so you decide you want to serve a mission, and you're going to hear the term within the church called, I've got to turn my papers in. Basically, I am turning in paperwork that shows I'm physically and mentally capable of leaving home for a couple of years to serve the Lord, as well as I can give them things about me to get to know me better, skills, so on and so forth. We send that paperwork into Salt Lake, where church headquarters is. A member of the 12 apostles will read over your file and pray and assign you to a mission based on where they feel you should serve. You wait. Back in my day, when the internet was still a baby, we waited for it in the mail.
When you had a MySpace account?
When I had a MySpace account.
Is your MySpace account still active?
No. I wish I could find it, though.
I'll find it. Okay,
I bet
sorry,
you
go
will.
ahead.
So I waited. I got mine in the mail, and it's a very big moment. A lot of times family will call or come over, and you'll open your mission call, which basically you're told where you're going to go live for the next 2 years as a representative of a representative of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Which I think when people hear that, we're like, yeah, we go serve for 2 years, and they say, hold on now, sorry, for 2 years you go serve as a missionary, and yeah, it's true. As a young man, it's 2 years. As a young woman, 1.5 years.
18 months, yeah, 18 months, 1.5 years.
And that is basically your life. You make the choice to, in our church, in our gospel, we are taught that we need to share the gospel of Jesus Christ to all, every continent, every country, every person on the earth. It's important, and we take that seriously. And we volunteer to serve missions. The majority of our missionaries are young men and young women. You can now serve when you're 18 as a young man. And as a young woman, is it 19, Cody?
I believe, yeah, it's 19 now.
You can also go as a married couple later on in your life, when you get a little maybe closer to retirement age. But missionary work is a big part of our culture, of our church. And again, it's out of the desire to share the good news, the good work, and the gospel to everybody. So that's what we're going to talk about today is the culture of missionary work. And Cody, will you let me share some of the feedback we got? We kind of did a little Facebook tease, little social media marketing of this next episode. And the question was posed to those out there: is there a culture of missionary work in the church? Is there what's good about it? What should be talked about that maybe we should improve? And Cody, I got tons of feedback, and when I say tons, I mean 3 comments total across all of our social media platforms. So I wanted to share this first comment from you from a man named Bill Lamps.
Oh,
do you think that's a real name? I want it to be real.
I do.
I want there to be a Bill Lamps. And what does Bill Lamps do for a profession?
Jedediah Lamps, who was the first Lamps to come over to the New World, was a shoesmith. I don't know, a shoemaker.
Yeah.
And so Bill Lamps has carried on the craft of shoemaking,
right? Which
is a proud Lamps tradition for the last 300 years.
And yes, in my mind, again, there's a tradition in this family of building craft lamps, like craft-made lamps. And Bill decided, you know what? I'm going to venture off. We're getting the bell. I'm going to sell vacuums. So Bill Lamps is a vacuum salesman.
Okay.
His family is upset with him.
He's not carrying on the Lamps name.
He's not carrying on the Lamps name. And anyways, Bill Lamps, his comment of our social media post of, hey, what do you guys have to say? 2 words: real sad. And so we don't know if Bill Lamps is real sad.
Bill, if this is a cry for help, brother, you call us up, man.
I need a vacuum, Bill.
Email us. We'll get you taken care of.
Sure. So we don't know if Bill Lamps is real sad or if he says the culture of missionary work is real sad. We're gonna reach out and we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, we'll update you.
The other commentary I got was from Karen Wolf, which that's probably a real name too.
No.
But do you ever catch anybody saying wolf instead of wolf?
You do. That's got to be a title. That's not a name. Like, you're the most alpha Karen of all the Karens.
Well, Alpha Karen says, it's a hierarchy and a dictator ship. Dictator and ship are 2 separate words.
Huh.
So her opinion, Cody,
ship that dictates.
Easy. Her opinion, Cody, is I guess the missionary work is a dictatorship. So I'm in a hierarchy. I'm excited to hear your comment about that. And then my good sister actually commented, this is a really good angle that I hadn't really thought about. She says it'll be interesting to see how the pandemic, speaking of mentioning COVID, changes missionary culture. My stepson planned to serve a 2-year mission. He was only able to serve 2 months because of COVID and I think some health scares. In some ways, I think the fact that so many other people have experienced something similar will create an opening for other choices if a mission isn't right for you. So I love that my sister, first of all, I love her very much, but I love that how she is kind of introducing this idea that a mission may not be right for you, that there might be other opportunities for you to serve, to share the gospel, but maybe a mission in how we look at missions traditionally may not be right for you, which may mean that it may not be right for everybody. I don't mean to get ahead of ourselves, but
no, that
was some good feedback we got.
That's a good point to bring up, because we're going to talk to that of, specifically those missionaries that maybe didn't make the entire time, and how it doesn't have to be as bad as it sounds. So sorry, now I'm getting ahead. You go.
Well, do we need to preface this with we are pro missionary work?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So I did serve.
If you're tuning into this episode and you're like, yeah, Cody and Jared are going to talk about how no one should serve missions and the mission, and we're all like brainwashed to serve missions and all this stuff. Not so much. We are very pro missionary work. But there are some caveats and some things to talk about how it isn't always, this vision, this illustration that people have typically of what it's going to look like. So, Cody, can you talk about, I guess, generally what culture do we have surrounding missionary work?
Yeah. And I do want to start off with saying, the reason why Jared and I thought this would be fun to do is you have one of us that did serve a mission. You have one of us that didn't serve a mission.
Yes.
And the one that didn't, I'm going to make
God
you
is not
blush.
proud of as much as the one who did. Let's just say it right now.
I look up to you so much. The RM status has nothing to do with it, but we do have such a heavy culture in the church of you need to serve a mission. I think it was Gordon B. Hinckley that said every worthy young man should serve a mission. In primary, we sing, I hope they call me on a mission.
Yeah.
Called to Serve is another, one of those hymns that we sing. It's such a big part of what we do. I know growing up, when I say growing up, I'm not about to roast my parents for anything, but it was always very heavily encouraged from my parents. And it was, I think for a lot of the young men in my community, it was not only encouraged, it was expected.
Yeah.
You went to church, you graduated high school, and then you put in your mission papers, and then you got your mission call. And it was just the step.
Yeah.
Everybody took the step. And so I think when you speak to church culture about that, as far as my perception goes, growing up in a very small rural LDS area, there is a lot of expectation in our church that you need to serve a mission. I think that lies more so on young men than young women. I know equally there is an expectation to serve, but I really feel for our young men, there is I can't think of a better word than expectation. You will serve. There's
an expectation. There's a pressure. I've used that word before. I think it's a good pressure. It's meant to be, it's coming from a good place. It's meant to be a good pressure, but, and you mentioned some examples. In primary, we're singing about it. At home, our parents are talking to us about serving missions. So our young men when we say young men, that means boys ages 12 to about 18. When they meet weekly for church, oftentimes they start out kind of reciting the young men motto or the priesthood motto, and in that motto, it talks about I'm working on preparing to serve a mission.
Correct.
So, as a young man, you are you're going through the program, and you are hearing all these things, and that expectation starting to build within you. And when you get to be closer to that age of going, all those things from the time when you were a kid to going through the young men's program, those are all kind of weighing on you, and you feel kind of an obligation to go. And again, I think it's a good obligation. I think it's a good responsibility. I think it's a good kind of pressure to do that. But what we kind of wanted to talk about too is, so what happens if it doesn't pan out?
Well, and to add to that, part of that church culture is, and I guess I'm speaking on behalf of me, maybe everyone doesn't feel this way, but I almost felt like I needed to earn that RM was a status. That was a title that I needed to earn because I was told.
Now, RM stands for real meaty.
Yes.
I think you have earned it. No, RM stands for return missionary, and it's almost like a stamp.
It is. Well, we're told
subculture stamp
that you can't find dates if you haven't served a mission. That the girls are going to go for the guys that have that have returned from their mission first. And when you go apply for jobs, you can put a mission on a resume. And so if you don't do it, you don't. And I know that sounds negative. I'm not trying to make it sound that negative, but we're almost obsessed to the point of getting that title, I guess is the point I wanted to bring up.
To your point with the women, just how our boys are kind of encouraged to go on missions. Our women are encouraged to marry return missionaries, right?
Yeah.
Marry the RM. So it does hold some kind of